Welcome to NationalOpinionNews.com. That's news with a Z. Real talk, no fluff, opinions that matter. I'm your host for the day, DeAndre Taylor, along with our national commentators, Robert McCain, Lois Polk, and Leah McVicker. Today we're going to discuss the world as we see it today, specifically dealing with the recession and a bailout plan for the auto industry.
Yeah, they done finally admitted we're in recession a year later.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff we need to discuss.
I have some things I want to say about it.
Yeah, and the Christmas season.
Well, I for one, that you mentioned Christmas season, I'm not as thrilled about the Christmas season as I have been in past, specifically because I don't have the money to go out and get all the gifts that I'm normally able to get because of this recession. What are we going to do about this?
Bailout plan?
I don't need a bailout plan.
But apply, and you probably might get.
But speaking of bailout plan, let's talk about the auto industry, talking about they need money for a bailout plan. Should we bail out the auto industry?
You know what? Now, this is my opinion. Now, I think that we should bail out the auto industry, but I think that we need to keep an eye on what they do with the money. We have already given our money to these banks, and they did something that we did not expect, and now we're still stuck. Nothing has changed. If we're going to give them this money, we need to make sure that some change is made to help this economy.
You know, I don't think we need to regulate them. I think that we need to give a certain amount of money to the bank to bail out the people that are trying to get a loan to get a vehicle. And then, yes, I do believe a certain percentage needs to go to the auto industry to at least keep their doors open. But to actually regulate, say, hey, look, you can't spend $2 billion here, but you can spend $1 billion here. That I don't think we need to go that extent. But yeah, I do think they need a little something to keep afloat.
I don't think that we should give them a bailout. I think that they're in the private sector and they should stay in the private sector. I think that the major issue is really the unions, which are, again, a piece of our bureaucracies, us saying this is what you will do with your money who you employ or how you employ people, which is bureaucracy, which I don't agree with. But I think that they are able to sustain themselves. Well, just like they said if we don't bail out America, that the bottom's gonna fall out and we would be off the map. And here we are.
Well, bottom line, and Robert mentioned this, we gave a bailout plan to the bank industry, and all they did is set on the money. They didn't do a thing. So what's going to happen is that the auto industry, we're going to give them money to bail them out, and they're going to make a couple new cars to satisfy the government, and nothing's going to happen.
Right, and no one will be able to buy cars.
They're going to continue to send the jobs overseas.
But how do you know the bank isn't sitting on that money, looking forward, looking 10 years ahead, saying, hey, look, this
10
is
years?
No,
we're in recession right now.
Let's just say, but no, because you know what, the bank. It's not just on the issue with the bank. You know, they might be sitting on it saying, look, okay, we need to put this. How do you know they didn't put a little bit somewhere?
But listen though. That wasn't the plan. Okay, that wasn't the plan. We did not give them the money like, okay, look, you guys go and you sit on it for a couple of years. The plan was for them to take the money. The plan was for them to lend. That was the plan. And we deviate, and we are. This is the thing.
Right. But you know what? I think the problem was...
Let me just say this. If we give the auto industry money and we don't regulate them to some degree, we're going to be back again.
I think we're going to be back again in 2 or 3 months because that's not the problem. The problem is we were greedy, and now we have to suffer. And it might hurt a little bit, but that's just what it takes for us to get back on track.
Well,
and no one wants to suffer. That's the problem.
But part of the greed, we understand we were greedy. I mean, bottom line, the housing market was booming.
So was the car industry. Every industry was greedy.
Well, not every industry was like the housing market. The housing market was more specifically geared towards where we're at right now. Because everyone was going out buying 2 and 3 houses, renting out houses to their cousins, that they knew wasn't going to be able to pay the housing. It's easier when you buy a car because the loan is different. You're dealing with a $10,000 to $15,000 loan as opposed to $100,000 to $200,000 loan that I know you're not going to be able to pay back. And so what happened is we got ourselves in a credit war. We don't have the credit stream that we had 2 or 3 years ago.
And nor will we ever right now. We just aren't going to have it right now. You go to the bank, try to get a loan, and you don't meet criteria, and
well, see, this is the thing.
You're saying, lower that criteria, and then if they lose their job, okay, I just bought a brand new car. How does that help? How does it help for me to lower the criteria so that you can buy a car when the economy is already struggling? How does that help?
So then maybe we should take a look at that, and we should say, instead of giving money to the auto industry, let's put money into jobs or recreation of jobs. But the banks did need money. The banks needed money so that they can lower the criteria, so someone like a person that doesn't have good credit can go and get that loan that they need. And now that we put money in the recreation of jobs, now they have a job that's consistent and stable so that they can afford to pay that loan.
I mean, I agree with that, but I still think that on some level, I think that we have gotten so far off that I don't think that we should say the bank we should regulate the bank and say, hey, you should lower your criteria so they can meet the job.
Then why do we give you money?
That's the thing. They're coming to the government. It's not like we're going to them saying, hey, you know, let us do this for you guys. They're coming to us because they are desperate. All right? They need this money, and they need. I'm sorry, but they need this finger over them. They need this finger over them.
I don't agree with that.
That's why, you know what, Robert, that's why the government needs to say, you know, we lost 1.9 million jobs last year alone. That's why we need to say, look, we lost 1.9 million jobs. Where does this money really need to go? What is the main jobs that we can do to get people back into, you know, on their feet again?
And it's not the auto industry, because they have for years been shutting down plants and sending their work overseas. That was actually when they did their hearing, that was one of the questions that was asked. If we give you this money, are you going to put more jobs back into the American economy? I think that, you know what, I'm happy about GM because they were honest. They said, you know, I can't lie to you. A great percentage of our jobs is already overseas, and it probably will stay that way. But listen, we want to take a pause and give our listeners the opportunity to weigh in. If you have a question, if you have a comment, feel free to log on to nationalopinionnews.com. That's news with a Z. We want you to give us your opinion so that we can discuss it on our future shows. Now,